I think, with the increase in social media and our dependence on social media, the number of what you might call instant experts in different areas has multiplied. So I find people writing on Ukraine who have never been there, who've never read anything in Ukrainian in their lives. And suddenly they're on TV, they're talking about Ukraine as experts on Ukraine. And there's no need to mention any names because they're too frequent for this to be a surprise to anyone. And you feel, well, there's perspective needed. How do you put across this alternative point of view? Even if you were, say, bombarding CNN, to get on there, so that you could make your point of view heard, well, you may get 5 or 10 minutes and you may get shut out by something else if there's another news story comes in. Plus you're on and then you're gone and that's it. But if you write something of this length, it's always there, and it's always there for consultation. Accuracy, I think, is one thing that really irritates, right? There are all kinds of inaccuracies written about, even different parts of Ukraine where they are. And I think one of the problems with the war that broke out in the east of the country was many of the towns that were being described, probably no one had ever been there or anyone had ever heard of them again, but suddenly they become familiar names. Ilovaisk is one example. And I was familiar with a lot of these towns from trips I'd made to the area in the past. So, I felt a little bit like this was a territory I once knew, and I thought I knew reasonably well, and the same applies to Crimea. I've also been there several times. And suddenly, everything has changed there. Crimea under Russian occupation, it's a kind of closed territory, it's a military zone. I guess it was always a military zone, but much more so now than before. So there is that as well, as an area with which you're familiar and you feel like you've got some expertise in, is a subject of world discussion. And you could say perhaps 60% of it is ill-informed, and maybe 20% is absolute nonsense.